Durango's small but vibrant manufacturing community says quality of life is key to their success. Forget spring runoff, the Animas River is much more likely to see flooding in fall. And learn about Fuzziwig's sweet success as a candy store franchise on this edition of Inside Durango News.
You're watching Inside Durango News, Durango's only televised news magazine, covering local news and features, business updates, sports, arts, and entertainment, and up-to-date minute weather forecasts for the greater Durango area. Featuring news anchor Ashley Dickson, Moni Grushkin on business, and Jordan Alexander with sports. Brought to you by Fast Signs. More than fast, more than signs. Fast Signs.
I'm Ashley Dickson with Inside Durango News, coming to you from inside the Powerhouse Science Center next to the Animas River. October 3rd is National Manufacturing Day, and Durango has seen an explosion in manufacturing companies in recent years. In our top business story, Moni Grushkin exposes why manufacturers are starting businesses in Durango.
From beer to musical instruments to potato chips, Durango's manufacturers say that Durango's quality of life has been the key to their success. In commemoration of National Manufacturing Day on October 3rd, Inside Durango News visited with 4 manufacturers to find out why they started or relocated their companies in Durango. Despite the challenges they face, including higher shipping costs and finding qualified employees. Not surprisingly, Durango's quality of life played a pivotal role in their decisions. Not only do they love Durango, but so do their employees, and that translates into profits. For Soundtracks, the move to Durango was a natural fit. Soundtracks makes digital sounds for model trains. The business started 25 years ago in Cape Cod. It moved to the Denver area in 1994 and to Durango 4 years later. Soundtracks employs 29 people and sells components around the world. Soundtracks co-owner Nancy Workman says it was Durango's train that was the deciding factor to move to the area.
We always sort of had an eye on Durango. The very first time I came here was in 1989 for the Narrow Gauge Convention, and kind of fell in love with the hobby and the people and the town and the train, and so we kind of had an eye on it. Didn't really think it was going to be possible, and one day we found the right place, we picked up and moved, and that was it.
Manufacturing accounts for about 650 jobs, or about 2% of the workforce, and it generates close to $54 million in revenue for La Plata County. While manufacturing may be a small part of the economy, it has the highest ratio of secondary job creation than any other sector. For every job that manufacturing creates, nearly 3 more jobs are created in the community. That's because manufacturing generates outside revenue to circulate in the community. Ska Brewing President and Chief Executive Officer Dave Thibodeau says his company couldn't have grown into the business it is today without Durango's culture. Thibodeau and partner Bill Graham started Ska Brewing 19 years ago. Today, they employ 60 people, produce 60,000 kegs of beer a year, and sell their brew in 9 states, Sweden, and the United Kingdom.
Durango has allowed us to do what we love to do, and in turn, I think we pay it back, and it just it's this cycle that brings the right people in through the door, and that's what works for us. Manufacturing here, you get the people that do what they love to do, and that ends up being a great higher end quality product because there's more into it than just robots.
Durango's isolation and small population can be a challenge, says manufacturers, especially when it comes to finding highly skilled employees like engineers or computer specialists. It may take a little longer to find the right employee, but somehow Durango's cachet helps them find the right fit. Christy Cook says she's always amazed at the quality of the employees who show up at her door. Cook and her husband Richard started Free Notes Harmony Park in Moab. They moved to Durango in 2010 for the educational opportunities that School District 9R offered their 2 children. They started manufacturing outdoor musical instruments out of their garage. Today, they have 19 employees and sell musical instruments all over the world through a network of distributors in Europe, Australia, Asia, and South America. They plan to expand into a larger plant later this year.
Yeah, well, it's been really exciting as we've grown that we've looked for key personnel, and that's going to continue as manufacturing moves to the next level. We're moving into a new building very soon, and that's going to involve more key personnel. And you know, once we write that job description and we put it out through the network, We have had applicants from out of town, out of state, but we've always hired with the local people. And of course, that's an advantage for us. We don't have relocation costs, but every time so far, knock on wood, we have been able to get the exact skill set. And even sometimes it's crazy combinations. One of our new production people, we also wanted a CAD. We needed a CAD person, and we needed to hire another person in production. And we couldn't afford a full-time CAD person, and yet we got a shop person who has been to school, who knows the programs, who is now producing our CAD. And he didn't want to be CAD full-time either way. He didn't want to spend his whole day in front of a computer. So, you know, it's like you put it down on paper what you're looking for, and miraculously that person shows up.
Stone Age Tools CEO Carrie Siggins says the equation is simple. Durango equals quality manufacturing. Jerry Zink and John Wolgamut started Stone Age Tools in Durango's garage in 1979. Now, the company employs 87 people and sells high-pressure water tools all over the world. Siggins says that the company makes it a point to hire employees who want to live in Durango.
In fact, we do not accept a resume if it doesn't have, from outside the area, if it does not have a cover letter written with why you want to live in Durango, and that reason has to be very compelling because we want people to make it here. It's very expensive to lose employees, to have turnover, and although we have very, very, very little turnover, that's something that we want to always watch. So if it's not the right fit for the community, if it's not the right fit culturally for Stone Age, then we pass even on really highly qualified candidates because it's just too important. Our culture is the #1 thing that we focus on here, and we're growing quickly, and I think about that all the time. Every person you add changes the dynamic, and so that person needs to really make sure that fits with Durango, that he or she fits with Stone Age.
Siggins said most Stone Age employees who have lived in the area make a conscious choice to move or stay in Durango because they love the active lifestyle. Combine Durango's way of life with a supportive and corporate culture, and you get happy employees who are motivated to produce quality work.
Happy, engaged employees are far better performers at work. And so when you have people who are not dreading coming to work every day, who feel good, like they can be engaged, they're going to do higher quality work. They're going to look for ways to improve. They're going to embrace what the company is trying to do. You know, we go to heroics here to make sure that we take care of our customers. And if we have employees who don't care about that, who aren't happy when they come to work, they're not going to do that. So it absolutely drives sales. It drives the quality of products that we have. It drives the new product development. I mean, everybody is really on the same page, doing the same thing, and that's really to take care of the customers. So.
Durango's downside? The high cost of living and the scarcity of jobs may be another reason the town is growing into a center for manufacturing and entrepreneurship. If you love the lifestyle but can't find a job that you love just as much, well, you create one. Roger Zelneritis, Executive Director for the La Plata County Economic Alliance, says employment could be one of the driving factors for a boom in food manufacturing businesses in the area. From energy drinks to potato chips, food dominates the manufacturing sector, he said. Scott Thibodeau often credits his departure from Durango Mountain Resort as the catalyst that started Ska Brewing.
You know, maybe there's something there about Durango driving the entrepreneurial spirit in people. And maybe that could be because obviously, you know, if you live here and you know how much you love it here, and there's not a lot of things. You could build houses, well, till a couple of years ago, you know, there's not a lot of jobs, and people are going to try and do what they can do to stay here and make it work and make it happen, and those kind of jobs. And maybe there's a compounding effect there because they see other food businesses and food manufacturing happen, and it's like, I have a good idea, you know, I love to make my own potato chips or whatever it is. That's something I can do and keep myself in Durango, or I could give it a shot. It's worth trying. And I think if you're of that mindset, you're going to come up with something. And I don't know, maybe that's it. I don't know. But all those products that you named, all those food products, those people are all friends of mine. And so I think it's because of the type of people that are attracted to a place like Durango.
If you'd like to learn more about manufacturing in Durango, check out the Region 9 Economic Development District website at scan.org or the La Plata County Economic Development Alliance at yeslpc.com. Rain causes the river to rise, but are we in danger of flooding? Scotty Smith next with this week's weather trivia.
I'm Scotty Smith with this week's weather. When it comes to flooding, forget spring runoff. The worst floods in the Animas Valley have occurred in fall. When? Stay tuned for more in this edition of Inside Durango News. Next, your up-to-the-minute weather forecast. This week's top stories are brought to you by the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. It's America's railroad.
Hop on board the Peanuts Great Pumpkin Patch Express at the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. There's fun for the whole family with live musical entertainment, a costume contest, hay wagon rides, games, a pumpkin patch maze, and the chance to meet Snoopy, Lucy, and Charlie Brown. This great fall event runs for 2 weekends, so get your tickets today. Trains depart the Durango Depot at 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. Call the depot or visit durangotrain.com for details and reservations. Candace Jeep has a busy schedule. She runs an audiology practice in Durango. It's not easy running your own business. That's why she chooses to bank at Alpine Bank. Being able to make business deposits without stepping out of the office saves time. And she loves how the Alpine Bank mobile app makes it easy to keep track of personal finances from anywhere, giving Candace the freedom to focus on what really matters. Alpine Bank in downtown Durango and Three Springs.
This portion of local news has been brought to you by Alpine Bank. Locally owned, locally operated. Alpine Bank.
I'm Ashley Dickson with Inside Durango News, coming to you from inside the Powerhouse Science Center. Health insurance renewals are arriving in the mail this month, but is universal health insurance the only answer for improving the health of our nation? The Citizens Health Advisory Council of Durango gathered 5 experts for the 5th Annual Community Health Summit on September 25th to discuss local, state, and national initiatives to improve the nation's health. And they suggest that current models, even with the universal health care insurance, aren't working. The United States spends an average of $8,000 per person per year on health care compared to an average of $3,800 per year in developed countries. Yet life expectancy in the United States is, on average, 10 years shorter. This year's summit focused on the Triple AIM initiative developed for the Institute for Healthcare Improvement. The Triple AIM initiative tackles reform on 3 fronts: lowering cost, improving the patient experience through access and quality of care, and improving the health of populations. But keynote speaker Matt Guy of Pueblo challenged the audience to think even more broadly about healthcare. What's missing from the equation is personal and social responsibility.
Health is not a direct process. Everybody assumes health is a cause to effect. I go to the doctor, I get a pill, I get healthier. Yes, but no, because the underlying factors that caused you to be unhealthy to begin with sometimes are not necessarily related to that pill that you're given or to that class that you're taking or whatever it might be. So looking at globally at education, poverty, housing, plus the traditional health care system. It has to be involved too, but they all intersect, and they don't intersect necessarily an A to B to C kind of progression. Sometimes you go from A to B to Q to R and then back to C again. So we need to understand that this is a process where there are lots of balls floating in the air, and sometimes those balls intersect like bubbles you blow out of a bubble machine, that sometimes they link, sometimes they don't, and sometimes actually they pop and you need to reassemble one. So understanding that health is something we can do together, but we also have to do together because it is not just a singular process.
Guy is the managing director for a community health initiative in Pueblo, Colorado called Pueblo Triple AIM. The group is addressing community obesity and smoking to help reduce healthcare costs and improve the community's overall health. But Guy told the CHAC Summit audience that changing insurance isn't enough. Community healthcare initiatives also have to address issues of poverty, poor education, and job creation. Guy says that the #1 predictor of poor health is poverty, and education can reduce healthcare costs by the millions. In Colorado, the reduction in teen pregnancies saved $1.5 million a year in Medicaid expenses. Guy urged the Durango healthcare community to engage leadership from all economic and government sectors to improve the county's overall health.
I think Chac here and in La Plata County, there's a lot of similarities. Even though our populations may be disparate and maybe the economics of the community are disparate, health is still an issue in a way that is still, when you approach it from whatever community you're in, you need to have those different intersections. And I think what the Chac is doing and with Patty's leadership, they're really working towards trying to intersect a multitude of entities in the community to come in and say, you know what, you have an impact on health. And we understand that health has an impact on your work. So health has an impact on education, on the faith community, on social services, whatever it might be.
In Durango, the Citizens Health Advisory Council serves as a convening organization that works to coordinate healthcare initiatives in the region.
Some of our priorities for the future are to continue our convening work, because one of the most important things that CHAC does is to help bring people together, because according to collective impact, the more and the stronger that we can work together, the better we can move ideas forward. And in our case, we're talking about ideas relating to behavioral health and oral health as two examples of high needs in the community. And we have been working with a great number of people, from agencies and interested community members, to try to move those efforts forward.
CHOC meets on the second Friday of each month and is open to anyone interested in healthcare. For more information about CHOC and the Community Summit, log on to choclaplata.org. In Germany, Oktoberfest lasts for 17 days. In Durango, heavy rains on Sunday cut the two-day festival short, but Saturday's warm, sunny weather drew respectable crowds of more than 1,500 celebrants to drink up that September tradition.
Alrighty, TV, welcome to Oktoberfest 2014!
I have here with me Tim Walsworth. Tim, tell me what your role is and how your organization is involved with this event.
Yeah, sure. I work for the Business Improvement District, and we took on the Oktoberfest event this year. It's been around for 10 years. This is the 11th year, and we have taken it over this year, so we've been working really hard to make a great event for everybody to come out to today.
Tell me some of the changes you made. I know it's in a different location. What are some of the other things you've done?
Yep, well, probably the main thing is to try to make it a truly family-friendly event. And so back behind us over here, we have this awesome Kinderplatz area, sponsored by Alpine Bank, where I just got a ton of stuff for kids and families, and I got a little boy, and so I love to come to these festivals, but I always want to make sure there's something for my whole family to do, and so that was important to us in the planning, and I think that's a little newer for Oktoberfest today.
My name's Maura Demko, and I'm the director for the Sexual Assault Services Organization. And we were asked to be here with 99X, and we are the beneficiaries of the dunk tank at Oktoberfest.
Nice. So does that mean you're going to get dunked?
I think it does.
A little bit about what Say So is.
We are the sex assault victim advocates in in the county, in La Plata County. And we provide advocacy to somebody who's experienced sexual assault. We do a lot of prevention work in the community, at schools, with different agencies, so that we can work to end sexual assault.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. And I love your tagline. Tell me what it is.
No more because we say so.
We say so. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Maura, for all you're doing. Hi, you're talking to Lori Sigalito from Inside Durango TV, and I have Mark Daigle here from First National Bank. Mark, what are you doing here?
Oh, well, yeah, it's a great place to be, right?
Well, you had a few other choices today. How did you choose this one?
Well, we're a sponsor of this event, as well as the Parade of Homes this weekend and a couple other things, but I don't know, they offered me beer.
What are you guys doing here?
We're having a great time. We're seeing friends, we're eating, we're enjoying the hot dogs, the lemonade, the great beer, and the wonderful weather in Durango.
So at the end of the day, what do you think will make you feel like this was a successful event for Business Improvement District?
Sure. Well, if we get a lot of people to come out to downtown, and hopefully they'll come to the event and have a little fun with their family, and then maybe they'll head to Maine and our great shops on the cross streets too, and do a little shopping, maybe go out to eat, that would be a successful day.
Elsewhere in La Plata County, Bayfield celebrated its 15th annual Heritage Days, celebration of the last weekend of September. The three-day event commemorates the time of year that ranchers move their livestock from the high country to winter pastures. Inside Durango TV was there when Ignacio rancher J. Paul Brown and his helpers herded more than 1,000 sheep down the Buck Highway early Saturday morning to start the festivities. Inside Durango's TV's Lori Sigalito visited with retired Bayfield rancher Houston Lassiter, who helped to start Heritage Days.
We're talking with Houston Lassiter, one of the previous guys who started this whole event, right?
Yes, it was 10 years ago, I think, that we started the Bayfield Heritage Days, and then the sheep trailing. We needed a fall event in Bayfield, so we thought, oh man, the sheep are perfect. You know, we come down from the high country every end of September, October, and we thought, oh man, that's great for the town. We'll just do a sheep trailing.
So how long has this been going on?
It's been about 10 years.
And is it a good thing? Has it worked out well for Bayfield?
You know, look at this crowd, and I remember when we first started, we came up Main Street with the sheep, and now the sheep just come down the Buck Highway. But boy, I look at this crowd today and think, you know, how this has just become a fabulous event for Bayfield.
Well, we are so glad to be a part of it here today and hope to get you guys some more exposure and more people out next year.
Well, thank you, and thanks for everybody. Thanks for coming.
Spectators gathered along the Buck Highway to watch the sheep gallop by. Then a short but fun parade followed. Sheepdog demonstrations, lawnmower races, and a chili cook-off kept crowds busy until the street dance Saturday night. Several hundred people attended the celebration, organized by the Rotary Club of Bayfield and Ignacio and the Bayfield Lions Club. Not a bad turnout for a busy weekend of special events in La Plata County. Up next, Jordan Alexander with sports.
This portion of local news has been brought to you by Alpine Bank. Locally owned, locally operated. Alpine Bank.
Hello, I'm Kurt Gerlach with Blue Ribbon Properties, and I know why you're here in Durango. After you enjoy all the great activities available in this area, you'll need a home to come home and relax in. So call or email me. I'm a buyer's agent. I've been here over 30 years and I know this town. I will represent you in purchasing the place that you will call home. Thank you.
First National Bank of Durango, committed to our community since 1882, where our friendly bankers help you achieve your financial goals.
We put you first!
Stop by one of our 5 locations or visit us online at fnbdurango.com.
This week's sports news from Durango and further afield is brought to you by Mercy Regional Medical Center, inspiring health.
I'm Jordan Alexander with your local sports news. Fort Lewis College men's and women's cross-country teams competed at the University of Minnesota Rory Grech Cross-Country Invitational on Saturday morning, held at the Les Bolstead Golf Course on Falcon Heights, Minnesota. The women's team, led by Emily Bryant, secured a 13th place finish out of 35 teams, to secure an overall points total of 384. Bryant's 6-kilometer time of 24 minutes and 7 seconds paved the way for 4 Skyhawks, including herself, to finish in the top 100 athletes. Joining Bryant was Maddie Kruger. She came 63rd with a time of 24:21, closely followed by Catherine Judge, 6 seconds and 2 positions later. And to round up the foursome, Emily White crossed the line exactly 20 seconds after Kruger for a 74th place finish. University of Minnesota's Samantha Rivard won the race with a speedy 22 minutes and 2 seconds. In the men's competition, Christian Gearing placed 25th overall with an 8K time of 26 minutes and 48 seconds. He led the field for the Skyhawks and secured a 10th place finish out of the 33-team field. Gearing's run earned him Skyhawk of the Week honours and again was one of 4 Skyhawks to post times in the top 100 athletes. Garrett Sapikoff placed 34th with 27 minutes and 12 seconds, and hot on his heels was Joey Brenner with a 65th place time of 27 minutes and 49 seconds. The Skyhawk top 4 was completed by Tate Lagaska with his time of 28 minutes and second. The quickest man on 2 legs was the University of Wisconsin's Matt Johnson, who posted a time more than 3 minutes ahead of FLC's fastest runner, Gearing. Now, FLC volleyball fell to a strong and consistent Colorado School of Mines team on Saturday. The Skyhawks lost the game in 3 sets, 25-11, 25-11 and 25-12. Sophomore middle Maddie Bickle recorded a team-high 7 kills on 15 attempts for the Skyhawks. Bickle hails from Chandler, Arizona, and added a single ace and a single block to her night statistics. Sierra Krenning added 13 assists, and Ali Delamico scored a team-high 10 digs. In total, the Skyhawks earned 19 kills and committed 19 errors on only 7 attempts. The loss continues a poor run of form for the Skyhawks, who now sit on a record of 4 wins and 10 losses overall, and 1 and 5 losses in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. The Skyhawks stay on the road this weekend against Western State on Friday and Colorado State Pueblo on Saturday. Keep it locked to GoSkyhawks.com for live stats on those ones. From college to high school, the Durango Demons boys golf team struggled on Monday on the opening day of the Colorado High School Activities Association Class 4A Boys Gold State Tournament. Competing at the Walking Stick Golf Course, the Demons scored a 251, 35 over par score from their top 3 rounds. Individually, Demons golfer Corey Gillespie leads the way for the Demons, tied for 17th with a 77. Mancos was the venue for the Chicken Creek Challenge cross-country race on Saturday. The Demons boys and girls teams took top honours from the meet. Demons boys tennis seniors enjoyed a sweet final home victory. Drew Downs controlled the first set to a 6-1 victory against Montrose's Brad Sawyer, but Sawyer battled hard in the second set to see himself go 4 games up. But in true never back down spirit, Downs scored back-to-back wins to halt Sawyer in his tracks and take the win 6-1, 6-4. And finally, the Bayfield High School football team sent a very clear message to the Western Slope South League with a confident 48-22 victory over Olaf on Friday night. Running back Zane Phelps found the end zone 3 times, catching an 18-yard pass and taking the ball to the line twice himself. Kelton McCoy added a further touchdown. And that's it for all this week's sporting news. After this, Moni Grushkin visits with Fuzziwigs to find out more about the sweet business of candy store franchises.
This week's sports news from Durango and further afield is brought to you by Mercy Regional Medical Center, inspiring health.
Inside Durango TV is all about community. That's why we want to see you on TV. Submit your videos and we'll air it on our various television channels. Have a great clip from the fair? Got big air on your snowboard? Send it to us by sending us a link to your file at ideas@durangotv.com. If it's not libelous
or in totally bad taste, you might just see yourself on IDTV here in Durango.
Probably about 8 years ago, when Jason first got into homebrewing, we started talking about opening up a brewery and what it would mean in different locations, and we just put it on the back burner so we could do our other careers. And then probably 2 years ago, we really decided to open up the brewery, and we knew that Pagosa was the spot.
When we were putting together the business plan for Riff Raff Brewing Company, we were looking at the need for a lot of capital to fund all the systems and equipment that we needed to make craft beer. And we knew that it would be challenging to find a partner. From an experience of going through a really difficult process of getting capital together, banking is a difficult place to get money for a business like this. We felt like the entire way First Southwest Bank really not only held our hand and shepherded us through the process, but they also embraced our business and tried to understand the model. And we are not quite a restaurant, but we're not quite a packaging brewery. And First Southwest did a really good job of trying to learn how to bridge that gap and present the data to the SBA so that we could go forward, secure the loan, and do it as quickly as possible with as few roadblocks. Would we recommend First Southwest Bank for aspiring entrepreneurs? You darn tootin'.
Next, the business update, brought to you by the First Southwest Bank and the La Plata County Economic Alliance.
Hi, I'm Moni Grushkin with Inside Durango Business News, and I am here at Fuzziwigs with K.O. Folsom. Welcome, K.O. It's great to be here in this fabulous store.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for being here.
Absolutely. So let's just start off. Tell us a little bit about Fuzziwigs and how we got started.
Okay. Well, Fuzziwigs started in 1995, and it actually was originally a division of Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. We were looking for something new and exciting to bring to our franchisees at the time, and I was with Rocky Mountain for almost 20 years, and so had a lot of great experience there. And we were looking for something that we could expand into the retail entertainment venues that was becoming real popular in the U.S. malls in the mid-90s. Fuzziwigs is actually, if you remember in Dickens' Christmas Carol, there was a shopkeeper called Fuzziwig.
Oh, so you had 11 stores originally. Were those all in Colorado, or were some of those outside of Colorado?
Most of them were outside of Colorado. And the other stores were in Arizona, Connecticut, Ohio, New York, all over. So most of those stores are still open today, and today we've got 56 stores.
And how many states are you represented in today?
20.
20.
20
okay.
states. And we just signed a master franchise agreement for the United Arab Emirates.
Oh, really?
We
Interesting.
should be opening our first store in Dubai in the spring.
So how does the franchise work in terms of the business model, and what makes it successful for you guys?
Well, one of the things, people look at franchising and they say, oh man, that's cool, anybody can do that. But you've got to have, first of all, you've got to have a successful business model. And so that's what we had. We've got stores that are successful, generate a good profit, and then you work out all of your systems and your process and your procedures, and you document all of that. Because the person coming in the door who wants to start a business or buy a franchise, they've looked at starting a business usually, and it's way too complex for them. They just don't get it, from business licenses to how do you design the store, where do you get the products, and they start looking through all of that, and it's just overwhelming to 99% of the people.
Right.
So those folks end up being franchise buyers.
Okay.
So we offer them not just a successful business model that you can look at, but also all the back end stuff, the accounting, how to finance the business, how to get the general contractor, ongoing support in buying candy, all of those kinds. The uniqueness of the store is the combination of everything you see here, from the piping that gives the feel of you're in a factory, to the turning wheels, to the candy hopper, to all of these things.
Okay, so the ongoing support buying candy. I'm standing here and I'm looking around and I'm like in the candy store, but literally it is so much fun to see all of this candy and this nostalgia. Where do you get the candy from, and how does that work? How does the buying process work?
Okay. We've got a full-time buyer, and we've got about, looking around, we've got about 1,500 different candy products in the store at any given time.
Wow, 1,500.
Plus things like this, novelty items, small toys, namesake tins, that have Durango on them, just on and on. So we've got a full-time buyer who's constantly sourcing candy for us. And then we've got a couple of major suppliers. Nassau Candy is one who is a bulk distributor. We're not a manufacturer of candy, so we sell other people's candy, but we do it in an environment that's fun and entertaining, and you get an experience as opposed to just the candy. There's a core product line that every store has to carry, and then there's a selection of other things that they can add or delete that really enhance their store. And if they find products in their local market or somewhere that they feel would work, they can contact us. We look at samples and we see if it fits with our overall scheme. We make all of our own chocolates here, so that they're all handmade and fresh in the store. We make fudge, any variety of things. Gift baskets. People come in and they use this for weddings.
I used to come in here when my kids were little and get all of the goodies for their Easter basket.
Right.
If you want to be a franchise owner of a Fuzziwigs location, what do you have to do?
Right. Well, first thing, most people, the way they find us is through the web. We've got a great website, fuzziwigs.com.
Okay.
And most people will go there. They've been thinking about starting some kind of a business, but they're just not sure what. A lot of people land on candy because they've been in our stores. Okay, so they'll search us out from that. And then, so they go through our website. There's a pretty stringent qualification process because we've got to make sure people have the financial resources to be able to do it.
Okay.
And so that's the first part of the qualification process. But once we're done with that, the most important thing is our chemistry. Because we're a small, privately owned company, we have no intentions of ever going public. We're not going to sell the company. So we're not trying to just put a lot of stores out there. So we really like the chemistry. If we can get along, and somebody that you would go out to dinner with and go to the lake on the weekend with, not that we're doing that all the time, but you really want that kind of a feel in our business where people are really well connected. And so the person who signs up today, I'm going to be talking to them 10 years.
Thank you so much, K.O., for sharing this amazing experience with us. Come down to Fuzziwigs, make your candy, play with your toys, and have an awesome experience. I'm Moni Grushkin with Inside Durango News. Thank you for joining us.
The business update has been brought to you by First Southwest Bank and the La Plata County Economic Alliance.
Everyone's on a budget, and we have several programs that are available that will meet those needs so that it does fit within your budget.
We're family here. They like the way they're treated. They like the way we present the numbers. There is nothing under question. They know exactly what they're getting. The quality of the Honda is number one. You want to get into a car that you know you can depend on for years and years, and it's not going to break down. It's going to be what it's presented to be.
Welcome to the Irish Embassy Pub Durango. We import the majority of our products straight from the Emerald Isle, and let's get it right. You want your Guinness directly imported from Dublin. You want it stored at precisely the right temperature. And you want the pour to be a matter of taste and science. You want a pull with the patience and precision that it deserves. And if that wasn't authentic enough, you want to enjoy it in a pub where the shelves are stocked with 24 different kinds of Irish whiskey. Yes, you want the true Irish experience. Come visit us at the Irish Embassy Pub Durango.
Southwest Colorado Lifestyles with Ashley Dickson is sponsored by the Wells Group.
You're watching Inside Durango News from inside the Powerhouse Science Center. I'm Ashley Dickson. La Plata County has suffered through several suicides during the past week, and today we have Brian Ensign. He's a therapist with Access Health Systems. He's currently is the clinical manager for the new mobile crisis unit and an administrator in the detox unit at Crossroads. Thank you so much for joining us, Brian.
Thank you, Ashley.
So obviously right now this is a very sensitive topic in our community, and it's really created a dialogue. A lot of people are talking about suicide. So through your experience, what are some of the signs that people should really be aware of for someone who may be contemplating taking their own life?
Well, a lot of people think that suicide correlates directly with depression, and actually only 40% or 40-some% of people who complete or attempt suicide have clinical depression. Some people do have anxiety, other PTSD type diagnoses, but it's not necessarily a diagnosable thing.
Yeah.
It could be just a situation in their life, and I think that's important for people to know.
Yeah.
Secondly, people are typically showing a big change. They have some hopelessness, they have a change in their behavior, a change in their mood, and it's things that we need to watch out for. Big signs might be they're going to give away a lot of their prized possessions, or they're going to say goodbye to people, or they're writing or talking a lot about suicide or death, and things to be really aware of.
So I know a lot of times mass media will really latch on to teen suicide as an issue. I mean, are there any statistics that show that teen suicide is more prevalent than adult suicide?
Teens are a high-risk population. Anyone from 14 to 25 is a pretty high-risk population. They did a study in 2007 of high school students, and 14.5% of high school students said they were seriously contemplating suicide at some point in their high school. So it is a high-risk population. I think another high-risk population is our working males. They don't necessarily ask for help, and that's a big issue. The other high-risk population, though, is 75 and older.
Really?
Especially 75-year-old and older males.
Interesting. I feel like those are statistics that you don't really hear about as much, those demographics.
Absolutely. I mean, females have high risk also. They attempt suicide probably 2 to 3 times more than males, but males actually complete suicide 2 to 3 times, or actually 4 times more than females do.
Wow.
So.
And so it sounds like there's a theme of not asking for help and not being comfortable asking for help. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think there's still a stigma out there with mental health issues, with asking for help, knowing where to get the help, and we need to break those barriers down.
And it's funny you should talk about where to get help, because the Durango Herald recently did a poll talking about, do you think the county has enough resources for this? And a lot of people polled said they didn't know, or they weren't aware of the services that were available. But there is a good infrastructure here in La Plata County, right?
We do have a good infrastructure. We're definitely provider short, being so where we are in regional. But however, there is ways and people to ask for help, and we can talk about that.
Nice. So for people who are interested in learning more information about this, are there resources online? Are there places to call? I mean, especially if you're not comfortable talking to your family or friends yet, maybe there's a way to kind of start that dialogue with a third party?
Access Health System has a 24-hour crisis line, and the person on the other end is a therapist, and they know all the resources in the area, and they know kind of what questions to ask and how to refer that person. So I would encourage people to call that number, and the number is 970-247-5245, and that's 24/7. We also have a walk-in crisis over at 1125 Three Springs Boulevard. It's our Crossroads building near the ER. And you can walk in there anytime during working hours and ask to talk to a therapist free of charge and get the information, whether it's something you're going through yourself or whether it's a family member or a friend that you're concerned about.
Yeah. So really just starting the dialogue, and it's unfortunate that we've had incidents that have kind of caused this to be more in the spotlight, but I think it's good that people are talking and trying to find out where those resources are. So thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. We're gonna get that crisis line up. We've got more coming up for your community, and we've got your local weather trivia with Scotty Smith.
I'm Scotty Smith with this week's weather trivia. The Animas River has breached its banks many times since settlers landed in this part of the southwest Colorado. Typically, warm spring weather will melt the snowpack so quickly that runoff will swell the Animas River in a rush of muddy water for weeks at a time. But springtime runoff is nothing compared to the record-breaking floods that have occurred in fall. In fact, the worst flood in southwest Colorado history occurred on October 5th, 2011. When the Animas River peaked at 25,000 cubic feet per second following a 36-hour storm that dumped between 3.5 to 8 inches of rain along the Animas River drainage. 25,000 cubic feet per second. That's more than 3 times the amount of water that fills the Animas during the spring runoff. 5 fall floods have exceeded devastating flood stage of 10,000 cubic feet per second, compared with only 2 in the spring. The most recent significant flooding occurred on September 6, 1970. Although the recent rains caused localized flooding in and around the Durango area, the Animas River remained well below the flood levels, but you could certainly see the storm's impact on the Animas River drainage. On Sunday, September 21st, the Animas River flow swelled from 361 cubic feet per second to nearly 2,000 cubic feet per second in just 24 hours. A week later, on September 28th, the river swelled to more than 2,300 cubic feet per second, more than 300% in 24 hours. The rise, which was caused by more than an inch of rain within the 24 hours, significantly less than the flood of 2011. You'll have a chance to dry out in the next few days. The National Weather Service predicts clear weather and cooler days through the midweek. The 30-day outlook calls for greater than average precipitation in October. Now, for your up-to-the-minute weather forecast. Southwest Colorado Lifestyles with Ashley Dickson is sponsored by the Wells Group.
We treat all of our guests like family here with courtesy and respect, and we want to make sure that we put their priorities first.
Taking great care of our guests builds lasting relationships, and that's what we aim to do at Durango Motor Company.
We have an open door policy here, so there's no games or gimmicks, it's just people talking to people.
We want to be here for the lifetime of the vehicle and the guest. We're here to be in business and take care of you for as long as we possibly can.
Urban Market showcases a wide variety of pepper and salt mills, ranging from the traditional to the innovative. Using carbon steel grinders for the pepper and ceramic grinders for the salt, these mills are designed with function, beauty, and flavor in mind. The ceramic grinder will never rust, and the carbon steel grinder cuts the pepper first, then grinds it to the maximum flavor. With a lifetime warranty, these are aesthetically pleasing, user-friendly, well-constructed, and sure to exceed your expectations in both performance and style.
This portion of Inside Durango News is brought to you by the Durango Arts Center, where Durango creates, promotes, and participates in the arts.
It was last February when we heard that Arthur Post would turn in his baton after 13 years in front of the San Juan Symphony. But as we ready for his final season as conductor and music director, the news is really sinking in. It begins Saturday, October 4th, right here at the Community Concert Hall, with a program called The Virtuoso Violin and Beethoven's Fifth. Here to tell us all about it and what lies ahead is Maestro Arthur Post. Hello, Arthur.
Hello, Ted. Good to be with you.
Indeed. Well, I think the first and most obvious question that we want to ask after 13 years is, why are you leaving? Where are you heading next?
Well, Ted, most people who know me know that I've been a little dispersed geographically for quite a while. So
you can expand on that if you like.
Well, I've got a job up in Canada in Thunder Bay. Yeah. As you know, my family is in Barcelona. Yeah, so I've got enough to do in enough other places. I'm starting to build a career also over in Europe, so it's not a question of moving to one particular place, it's a question of rebalancing a bit.
I understand, and this is the western extreme, I suppose.
Yes, it is, although it's a great place to be, as you know.
Indeed, and we were just talking about that off camera, and that's got to be one of the, I mean, I love Ontario. Canada's a beautiful place, but are you going to miss this area?
Oh, Lord. I have to tell you, part of the plan is to be back here as much as possible.
Interesting. That is definitely something I was wondering about, and we will get to that. But I wanted to know, after your 13 years here, of what are you most proud here? What are you thinking about your own personal legacy? You know, we can use the word accomplishments, but you know, what are you happy about as you head east?
Well, I think we've had the orchestra performing at a high level really for quite a long time, and they've internalized that standard. You know, that's not something that I have to bring to them each time. That's their standard now. And from the very beginning, I've enjoyed a great rapport with this audience that not only allowed but encouraged a lot of adventuresome programming. So the audience now has a taste for that, and I think in a way they even demand that of us. So those two things, the level of performance and this programming that is very varied and comes from all sort of directions of music.
I will say one of the things that, as a fan, that I am most pleased about and pleasantly surprised about, especially in light of the way that we see so many orchestras going, the San Juan Symphony, for such an incredible geographic region and so dispersed, is one of the healthier symphonies going today. It's a wonderful testament, I think, to both the programming, the musicians, and the commitment of the supporters.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have such enthusiastic supporters here, and they keep us going, and an active board as well. And we also do have to be careful, like everybody. You know, it's good management.
And so, moving forward, are you going to have any influence, any say at all in who comes along next? I know that the following season is going to be an audition, I guess, of sorts for 4 guest conductors. Did you have any say in bringing them in?
Yeah, I think there are several ways to do, or at least 2 ways to do this in any organization. Either the present person has a say in it or not. In this case, I didn't, and I think that's fine. It helps bring in a really new point of view. Whoever comes in isn't connected to me in any way.
Interesting. Okay. So let's talk about the upcoming season, your final one. This will be your 14th, or this will be your 13th?
13th.
This will be your 13th. Okay. We're going to start out. I know we're going to hear Beethoven's Fifth early on. We're going to hear some opera this year. We're going to hear our standard side-by-side musicians, and then something very different for your finale. So why don't you talk about, in order, the first concert coming up?
Yeah, so as usual, this great combination that we've always enjoyed here of traditional symphonic music and very adventuresome programming, we're keeping in that model because it's been so successful for us. So we're bringing back a few favorites that we've done earlier in my tenure. About 10 years ago, we did Beethoven's Fifth. I was wearing a purple cast and sitting on a stool like this when I conducted it, so I wanted to have another go at it, standing up. It is a piece that bears hearing more than once every 10 years. So
it's certainly one worth mentioning because, of course, it's probably the most familiar, arguably the most familiar piece of music out there, but not many folks actually get to see it simply because it's not programmed in many symphonies, you know, on an annual basis. It just doesn't get played anymore live. You know. So I think I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I look at it as a rare opportunity. All right, how about number 2?
And you get to hear the whole. It's not just da 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 da. There's another 33 minutes. I do want to mention that this year I'm very proud. In the beginning of the year and the end of the year, we have some very new music. The music is so new that the composer, Paul Haas, for our first piece, has just finished it. Yeah, so we've got some music that was written for us, and that's a great part of what we've done here in the symphony and what I'm very proud of in this year. November is an opera celebration. We've done concerts like this before. This one's going to be different, and Linda Mack, bless her heart, our cherished Durango choral leader and guru, is going to be conducting the symphony for this, and I'm very happy to put her on the podium in front of the orchestra, and so the audience can get to hear Linda lead the whole group, not just rehearse the chorus for this concert.
Wow, that is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I just did a play with Linda. That was a hoot. Okay, how about number 3, February?
Number 3 is another piece that we played a number of years ago, Dvorak's 8th Symphony. Beautiful, ingratiating, romantic symphony, powerful trumpet fanfares, beautiful folk-like melodies. We've also got a wonderful Mozart piano concerto, and our side-by-side is on that concert. And these are pieces with, that are staples of the romantic repertoire, of the symphonic repertoire, so we're calling it 3 favorites. And then in April, for my final concert, in thinking about what would be most meaningful to me here, over the years, what has meant the most to me is that being out here in the Wild West, I've had free reign over programming, and I've been able to sort of draw on the inspiration of this beautiful place and program music that, for me, reflects it. And so we have a composer who lives in Boulder. His name is Paul Fowler. He's a multi-vocalist, instrumentalist, fabulous composer. He's writing a new piece for us. We're playing several pieces of his. We're constructing a concert that we call Music of the Timeless Spirit, that draws on various spiritual traditions, Native American, Buddhist, early Christian, or I should say from the Baroque period, Baroque music, so Bach's church music. We're mixing this in with a symphony called Mysterious Mountain, and this is a celebration of the spirituality of this place, with Paul Fowler from Boulder and Mysterious Mountain and more spiritual music. So for me, this is the most, that's how I wanted to cap off my my tenure here.
It seems very appropriate when I was reading about it. I'm really looking forward to that. Well, what as you are getting ready for your final season, what are some of the highlights you're going to remember of your tenure here in the Four Corners?
Wow. Well, the very beginning was my first concert. We had Nick Kendall as a violin soloist, and after his Mozart concerto, he started fiddling a little bit, and Mark Epstein came out with a banjo, and I came out with my bass. This was way back then, this was our Bluegrass Encore. That certainly is one of them. Boy, there are many.
I know that's putting you on the spot. But.
Well, the Carmina Burana that we recorded, the CD that we have available, that was for our 25th anniversary. Yeah. That was a great highlight. Some of the Beethoven symphonies that we've played in the last few years, One thing that's great is that, in a way, getting a whole orchestra together and getting a performance together, because we're so geographically sort of isolated, and is a challenge. In a way, it's a miracle. Every time we get through the rehearsal process, the concert feels like an enormous accomplishment,
Mm-hmm.
And
I can see that.
And I can say, because of that, that every time we have a concert, it's a highlight. We just feel that way. We feel that way, and it's a wonderful experience.
It's 4 times a year. You're putting on quite a show. And I imagine each time you take a deep breath and let a bigger one out. So, well, it has been an absolute pleasure having you here these 13 years, and we certainly wish you the best of luck. And I'm assuming we will see you making some frequent returns, perhaps. Musically and otherwise.
Ted, we're going to get back here because this place is in my heart.
Well, thank you, Arthur, for 13 great years, and best of luck moving forward in whatever the future brings. Again, the San Juan Symphony kicks off Arthur's final season October 4th, and will continue with concerts in November, February, and April. Check www.sanjuansymphony.org for details and tickets. Back to you, Ashley.
Arts and Entertainment with Ted Holting has been brought to you by the Durango Arts Center, where Durango creates, promotes, and participates in the arts.
I'm Ashley Dickson. Thanks for tuning in to Durango's only televised news magazine, bringing you local content that matters.
Every time she yawns, I wanna put a finger in her mouth, and every time she's gonna must be winning, and she's traveling south, 'cause I'm a little too cold and I'm a little too weird, and I forgot about my own.
If you love Durango, grab this edition of Durango Magazine today. Explore Durango's vibrant art scene and a nearby city that disappeared. Discover what's happening on the Animas River and what Durango families do for fun with their kids. Dining guide and Durango's dream homes too. Captivating stories, award-winning design, and stunning local photography. Durango Magazine, serving people who love Durango since 1986. By mail, your hotel room, free racks all around town, and at Magpie's newsstand.